Mark. Mark. You all right, man? Hey. Come here.
Hygiene and sanitation are obviously very important factors in the field. Without them, disease can start and spread, and sick soldiers are ineffective soldiers. Why are soldiers particularly prone to disease when they're exposed to field conditions? Fatigue, irregular meals, and exposure to extremes in weather all lower their natural resistance. Dirty kitchens, crowded living quarters, and shared toilets can spread disease fast. The stresses of combat or field training may cause some personnel to neglect proper sanitary habits. And sometimes soldiers have to occupy unhealthy environments because of operational necessity. So it's important to observe basic sanitary precautions. And one of the most important is the building and proper use of field urinals and latrines. The ideal site for a field camp is on an elevated piece of ground, consisting of sandy loam or grass-covered gravelly soil for good drainage. The site should be located far from any watercourse in order to avoid contamination. It should also have some protection from the sun and wind. The plan of the field camp should be oriented into the prevailing winds. When planning the installation of any camp, an environmental evaluation form must be filled out in accordance with the appropriate SOPs. The engineers can offer assistance in these matters. Administrative areas are positioned along the main thoroughfare. Sleeping quarters are set behind these. Then the wash areas, and finally, the urinals and latrines. Latrines should never be more than 100 meters from the sleeping tents. For short stays, shallow trench urinals are prepared. Dig a 1.25 meter square to a depth of 1 spade length, and save the soil on 3 sides. Break up the soil in the bottom to improve drainage. Fill in the trench urinal when breaking camp. Mound the earth, but don't mark it. For longer camps, the pipe urinal is used. Dig a 5-centimeter square hole about 30 or 35 centimeters deep. Be sure to locate it above the local water table. Many sources of water run underground. They form what is called the water table. If you are not sure of the depth of the water table, consult the engineers. Line the hole with brush, gravel, or river stones. Prepare a 1.25 meter length of 10 centimeter diameter ABS pipe. Set one end of the pipe in the center of the dug pit and bury it so that it's at a 45-degree angle. About 3/4 of its length should end up above ground. One pipe urinal like this is required for every 25 soldiers. Clean them every day and use Septade to prevent odors. It's a completely biodegradable product. To prevent insects getting into it, wire mesh is put over the end of the pipe, indented and secured with a rubber band. When breaking camp, remove, clean, and disinfect the tubes with bleach in order to use them again. The hole is filled in, leaving just a mound with no marker. To prepare a shallow trench latrine, dig a hole 1.125 meters by 25 centimeters by 75 centimeters deep. One of these types of latrines is required for every 20 soldiers. To keep flies down, it is necessary to spread layers of earth each time the latrine is used. When the trench fills to within 25 centimeters from the top, and when camp is broken, septate is poured into the trench. It is filled in, mounded, and finally marked as contaminated ground. Deep trench latrines are used in semi-permanent camps. They're built on the outhouse principle, with sheltered and covered seats over a deep pit. The trench is dug to a depth of 2.5 meters or more, in hard soil, well above the water table. A Hessian net is laid down in a log frame. Then the seating assembly, which is also made from logs, is laid over the Hessian. Wooden seats must be properly treated and painted. Lids are necessary to keep flies out. Holes are cut in the net, and the soil is banked around the seating assembly. A deflector is installed at a 45-degree angle. This prevents spray from soaking the wood and causing odors and rot. Finally, the shelter superstructure is erected around the latrine. This is usually a tent, which must be so marked and used for no other purpose. The latrine is thoroughly cleaned every day. This is very important in helping to prevent disease. When the pit fills to within 25 centimeters of the top, it must be filled in. The Hessian and the logs of the seat frame are destroyed, and the area is marked as contaminated ground. There are some situations where dug trench urinals and latrines cannot be made. The ground is just too hard, the water table is too high, or regulations do not permit it. In these cases, portable chemical toilets or pail latrines are used. Washing and shaving facilities consist of an ablution point and a soakage pit for each group of tents. The soakage pit is 1.25 meters square and 120 centimeters or 4 feet deep. It should be well above the water table. Line the bottom with brush, gravel, or stones to ensure good drainage. Stretch Hessian over the hole to keep out insects and rodents and seal the edges with soil. Make sure that people know not to throw solid refuse on this. Stretch mine tape around the pit to warn others of its location. It is not appropriate to brush teeth over a soakage pit. It will clot the Hessian. After use, soakage pits are filled in and mounded, but not marked. Showers should be built over soakage pits, at least 2.5 meters deep. Wooden pallets make excellent shower floors, but they must be covered with rubber mats. The showers must be cleaned on a daily basis. When the camp is closed, the soakage pit is filled in but left unmarked. Some basic precautions must be observed in the use and operation of mobile laundry and bath units. The soakage pit for laundry wastewater must be set at least 100 meters away from any local surface water if possible. All of the water used at the MLBU should be considered unfit for human consumption, not even for brushing teeth. The duckboards in the shower units are made from hardwood, sealed with shellac, and painted with marine-type paint. These must be cleaned and disinfected daily and set out in the open air for at least 2 hours. The field kitchen is situated in an open area so that it faces into the prevailing wind. The field kitchen includes a waste disposal area, a messing area, and an ablutions area. The waste disposal area includes a grease trap and 2 soakage pits, 1 active and 1 spare. These pits should be 3 meters square and, if possible, 3 meters deep. The grease trap and soakage pit are a meter apart. A hose, 7.6 centimeters in diameter, is installed under a Hessian cover and connects the grease trap with the soakage pit. The screen filter in the first drum must be cleaned of food scraps at least after every mealtime, and lids must be kept over it when not in use. Otherwise, flies will be attracted to it. Ice added to the water in the barrel will encourage grease to float to the top for easier removal and disposal. The mess area is divided into tents arranged in an H form and is further subdivided into 3 separate messes, or as directed by the unit commander. An annex, which includes a pot washing area, another one for food storage areas, a cool storage area, a fire point, a mess tin wash area with containers for washing, rinsing, and disinfecting tins and utensils, and the kitchen itself. Good hygiene and sanitation at all stages of food preparation is vital for the health of the unit. Store perishables properly. At meal times, keep prepared foods warm or cool as required. Do not use foods which have passed their expiry dates or which have been damaged in transit or storage. The ablutions area has a supply of water either in water cans or a water trailer. It contains the latrines and pipe urinals, a hand washing area, and a garbage disposal point at least 25 meters from the kitchen. When the camp is struck, grease trap barrels are cleaned for recycling and the Hessian cover is destroyed. 3 bottles of septate are poured into each pit and the holes filled in and mounted but not marked. Preventive medicine technicians, a medical assistant, or the environmental officers inspect field camps to ensure that high standards of hygiene and sanitation are maintained. Each unit must make sure that all of the garbage they generate in the field, both wet and dry, is disposed of properly, either on site or by transporting it out of the area with them for later disposal. Individual units also have pest control responsibilities. But most importantly, it all comes down to the individual soldier. All soldiers must be aware that practicing good hygiene will keep them more comfortable in the field and help protect them and their comrades from infection and disease. Soldiers who are well fed, who have adequate shelter, and who keep themselves and their surroundings clean contribute not only to their own well-being, but also to the comfort of everyone else, and even the ultimate success of their mission, whether training or on active service.